We'll see.
You know what mine is, right? Have you ever been to my Twitch channel when my show starts?
No. Do you have one?
Yeah. Do I have a channel?
Do you have an intro?
Yes, I do have an intro. What I do is I have a drum beat on loop for 5 minutes. Okay. That way, when somebody comes, because everybody knows what time I start, 2:00 p.m. every weekday, right? And if so, once they get the announcement, they go on my channel. But I don't have any meaningful content for the first 5 minutes, so people have time to put aside whatever they're doing, and then come to my channel. And then when they get there, they see that they see that 5-minute drum loop. Okay, it's just a drum beat. It keeps going, and that way they're not just staring at a blank screen. But they also don't miss any meaningful content. This right now, for anybody who's in the audience right now, this is not the meaningful content part of the show.
It's not?
No, this is just me. Look at me. I look like I look like an Edmonton Oilers fan. What's up with this color scheme?
Holy crap, you actually do. And I got that reference. I finally got one of your references, Puck.
Well, we're on the right track. Okay. So today we are here to talk about, I suppose, why don't we just call this, what the puck is the supernatural? And I would say that my guests for this show, I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry. What Christian said?
Yeah.
You handled notifications for this, right? So today we are here to talk about, I'm hearing myself.
I took care of it. Sorry.
Okay. So.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. We're here to talk about the supernatural, and I really do think it should have just ended at season 5. That's where the original creators wanted. They had a storyline up to 5, and ever since then, they were just killing Sam and Dean in different ways.
Fuck, we're not here to talk about the show, the supernatural. We're here to talk about the literal supernatural.
Supernatural. Well, I guess this is a wonderful time to bring up the fact that definitions are very important. And if we're going to talk about the supernatural, the very first thing I want anybody who's calling us to do is to clearly define what something supernatural is. That's my challenge to anybody here. Let's start by defining supernatural.
Okay.
You see, that was a very smooth segue, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a smooth segue, but I got to be honest, not everyone's going to call in and know how to define the supernatural. So I'd like to call in and, provide their story or why they believe in such things. And then we can, as you would say, we can puck it.
Oh, Korag Knight. Well, thank you very much for recognizing that these are, in fact, Islanders colors. However, being a fan of the Columbus Blue Jackets, I must not do anything to support. Never date within your division, right? That's the number one rule. So yes, these are technically Islanders colors, but nothing good should ever happen to the New York Islanders, ever.
I don't know about that.
You believe it's okay to date within your division? Would you date a Nashville Predators fan?
I don't even know what a Nashville Predators fan is.
I can't face on this enough.
Well,
hey, Erica.
Definitely welcome to call if you have any supernatural stories and share them with us. That is, if you want Puck and I, asking questions.
Yeah, and despite the gruff demeanor, I'm actually a really nice guy. I don't mean to come across quite as puckish as I do.
As puckish as you do.
Puckish. I mean, I have to be described with my own adjective, right? Like everybody here watching this channel knows if I say something like, what, that is such an Ethan thing to do. Everyone would know exactly what that's talking about. Nobody would know. Okay, that's totally Puck.
Oh. You know what,
Erica, I'm a Jets fan, so you can say that all you want. Practicing all of my friends. My friend and I recently contacted a good friend from my past together. She knew things she couldn't have known. It's incredibly real. Yeah, let's talk about this.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Ariana or Ariana. If you could call the show and tell us that story, and we can ask you some questions, but. In the meantime, I do have our first caller.
We do? Okay.
Steve, you are on with Puck and Ethan. How are you?
First time caller. How's it going, everybody?
Welcome, Steve.
Steve.
Is this a Steve in chat that's saying that we're talking hockey?
Yes, that's him.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Steve.
Didn't know I could never date a Predators fan.
Okay. I mean, the only reason I can't date a Predators fan is because my skin tone looks horrible with the color yellow. Like otherwise, I could probably I could get past I could probably get past the ideological differences. I'm a Jets fan, so no, even people in Chicago don't like me.
Yeah, I can respect the Jets.
Okay. Well, what do you got for us today, Steve?
But no, my supernatural experience. I'm going to go with that first. Well, off on top of my head.
Sweet.
So I was about 12, 13. They're friends of my brothers. So like brothers to me, basically. Kind of grew up with them. But they passed away in a car accident. Mind the dog barking, please. And probably about 2 weeks afterwards, I go to sleep. And I have this like haunting feeling. And they're like talking to me. I hear their voices. I can kind of see them. You know, when you're in that stage of falling asleep. So that's pretty much it. I don't know what I got out of it, what I took from it, but it was very eerie. Kind of stick with me throughout my whole life, pretty much.
No, I get that, and it happens to me usually because I try to fall asleep while watching television. If there's like no noise going on, I just can't get to sleep at all. And the absolute worst time to do that is if you're watching Twilight Zone on Netflix. Because you're gonna end up with the weirdest, like half awake, half asleep. You don't know what's real dream, and then you wake up, but you don't really wake up, and you're waking up in the dream. I guess where I'm going with this is like, how do you differentiate what happened to you from a dream?
It's that I think that's right there defines the supernatural.
Because you're gonna have to connect some more dots for me than that.
In any stage. What's that?
You're gonna have to connect the dots a little bit for me than that. Like, just on first hearing, I would, if that happened to me, I would chalk that up to, okay, I had an incredibly vivid dream. But you're not saying that. So how are you differentiating what happened to you from I had an incredibly vivid dream?
It felt so real. You know, I think it's more of a feeling more than anything.
Okay. Now, was this a one-off, or does this continue to happen?
It was a one-off.
Okay. Before we get too far, I have to apologize for this because I come across as like really gruff. I'm just a very serious person, and I figure you have better things to do than to like endlessly circle in small talk with me. But I validate your experience. If you this is what you believe happened to you, this is what you believe happened to you. What I'm trying to do is suss this out now. Yeah. So it's not recurrent. Has this ever happened? Maybe not with these people involved, but with other situations where you're in that half awake, half asleep phase, and something like this happens.
I think there has. I can't, pinpoint an actual experience or story, but it may have. It's almost like a deja vu type thing that happens every now and then as well.
I would love to know more about deja vu. That happens to me all the time too. God, I would love to know more about deja vu. That happens to me all the time too.
Let me ask you this. Do you think a feeling, though, is necessarily a direct link to the supernatural? So I guess what I mean is, how do you differentiate between it just being, chemical reactions in your brain and you actually connecting to some type of supernatural realm?
That I have no answer for, because it's one of those that's deeper than I know I have the intelligence for. You know what I mean?
Well, don't say that, really Steve. I know
dive
you're a smart dude.
Well, no, it goes deeper than beyond anything that I can even explain. Because it's a feeling, it's a sense. When you get the, people always talk about their ghost experience when they get really cold when they walk into a room, or their arm hairs raise up, that kind of thing. Those sorts of things will happen, but is it just because it's the room's colder? Is it just because it's the air? Is it, there's so many unknown questions and variables that go with that.
So the way I would do this is like the way it processes in my brain, because it's a very weird puck brain, is that the human body is receiving all sorts of crazy sensory input all at once, more than we're capable of knowing how we process. We're hearing a bunch of things, seeing a bunch of things. There's a whole bunch of input coming in at once. And if something were to happen that would make me say, "Ooh, look, I got the goosebumps thing," I would not know what set that off. And since I don't know what set that off, I'm going to be incredibly reluctant to say it needs to be something supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
So like you've seen a bunch of experiments before, right? Where you're like watching a screen to say, okay, pay attention to these moving objects, and then they throw a weird question at you, like, did you see the gorilla? And you're like, you're not even paying attention for a gorilla. You don't know how to look for a gorilla. There it was. Somehow it escaped your visual perception, even though it was right there the whole time. We are incredibly bad at knowing everything we perceive. Does that make sense? Now, you can take this in both ways. You can take this in the way that I take it, and that we are normally just perceiving things, and then they don't enter our perception, but this is completely natural. Or you can take it the supernatural way, which I'm guessing a lot of our audience is about to, and saying that we perceive things on a plane other than what is actually physically possible. And to get me to believe that, what we would have to do, for me personally, is repeatability. Like, we have to be able to consistently say, this happened here, okay, let's make it happen again. You know, or you think something happened in this room, okay, let's take a bunch of people who don't know otherwise, just invite them here for a party, and then see who gets goosebumps.
Right.
Let's find out. Let's test this out. Now, in your case, we can't do that. Obviously, you said it happened a long time ago and it was one of, right? So this is why I tend to validate your experience. If you believe this is what happened to you, I'm going to lean toward believing that this is the experience that you had. Now, of course, you're going to take something off of this experience. It was meaningful to you. Maybe it changed you in some way for the positive. That's cool. But as far as saying that it actually was a supernatural source, since we can't look at it again, it's hard for me to move my needle on that one. But I do validate your experience, and I hope you realize that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
So, real quick, Steve, do you have another minute?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've known each other a long time. You knew me when I was, I was Christian. I was very right wing, and you saw me through my, angry atheist phase where I was like yelling at people, and you've seen where I'm at now. My only, I guess, challenge to you would be do to yourself, like, try and do what I did. And I don't mean necessarily politically or religiously, but try and think about these challenge yourself to think about these experiences a little bit more. Because I personally found, like, one of the mistakes I made was whenever I didn't have an explanation, I would say it must be supernatural, or I would assume it was a ghost or something, rather than, being like, you know what, I'm not entirely certain what happened here. I'd like to find out more, but until I can, I need to err on the side of saying, hey, I don't know what happened here, and that would be my only suggestion, would be to try and apply that filter to rule out if it's if it is the supernatural, or if you have a good reason to believe it, I guess would be the best way to word it.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I appreciate it.
Now, just out of curiosity, have you taken this belief in this specific incident that happened and applied it to other situations as well? Like, you believe that this type of thing can happen, and then it happened elsewhere, or you leave room for the possibility that it's happening again elsewhere?
I'm sure I have.
Okay.
I haven't thought too much of it recently, but I'm sure I have.
Okay. Because that's like me. Like, I have some friends who believe in some, like, out there stuff. They can control the growth of plants, or they can control the flow of water and whatnot. And that'd be cool. And you could sell me on that as soon as you can predictably give me results. Does that make sense? And this is one of the things that makes it so difficult to talk about supernatural claims, is that we can't go back to this. And I don't know you, like, this is the first time we've ever talked, so I'm more inclined to just say, okay, I'm going to validate your experience, but there's no way we can go back and find out. And so that's what keeps me
validation.
Yeah. Ariana, I really wish we could talk. I get that we can't, but Ariana, I wish we could talk. Okay.
Makes sense. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
No,
thank
nice
you,
Steve.
All right, talk to you guys.
Bye. So if you have a supernatural experience, ghost story, psychic, astrologist, any of it, feel free to give us a call.
And I totally get that. I feel like I need to clarify something. Can I clarify something?
Sure.
Okay, I leave a lot of room for the possibility that we as humans have not reached our peak of perception. Okay, I believe that there are possibly objects and possibly entities, even intelligences, that are beyond our current realm of perception. They might be too large or too small or too just, we haven't figured it out yet how to find them. Okay, this is my answer to the Fermi paradox, by the way, for those of you in the audience keeping track. I don't think we found everything there is to find. So if somebody has something that's cool, let's find a way to consistently look for it. If it's a one of, it's hard to investigate. I'd really love to, but it comes across as a one of, and there's so many variables in this vast universe of ours that it becomes impossible to pin it on any one thing. That's just for me. But I do leave room for the possibility that this stuff exists.
Ariana in the comments. Christian, please go back to YouTube. We're trying to get everyone moved over to YouTube. So yeah, jump back over to YouTube. I can see all the comments.
Dragons and Genesis, I am the same way with plants. And I think I think my superpower when it comes to plants is best described as apathy. And if I just don't care about plants long enough, they will do the exact same thing that happened with your mom. But that's what I'm talking about, predictable results. Apathy leads to brown plants. It's a beautiful... you didn't see Dragons and Genesis comment there?
No, I have not yet.
It says, my mom can definitely control the growth of plants. She can take a perfectly healthy plant and turn it brown within a week. I remember you called last week, didn't you, Dragon?
Yes.
You did. Okay. I've been keeping up with your work. You're sharp. I appreciate that you're here listening. Okay. Ariana, I love what you said about being. Did you say you were in charge of a group of mediums? I would love to. Yeah. There you go.
That's what we need to reach out to. Ariana, I would love to be added to that group. So we can kind of bounce this off people more, talk to them about it, get them to call in. If you do have some type of supernatural story, whether you're a psychic, a medium, anything that encompasses supernatural, the number is at the bottom of the screen. Call us and tell us why.
You have a very receptive person to supernatural claims sitting in this chair right now. Okay, I'm not a hard debunker. I'm more going to be let's really try to suss this out. So if you wanted to prove this to somebody, if you wanted to really talk to someone who you could sell on the idea, not only am I easy to sell on it, but if you actually sell me on it, I'm going to be one of your biggest supporters.
I can tell you that is true. Puck, like me, just likes to ask a lot of questions. His are more knowledgeable. Mine are more childlike. But either way, I think you'll find that both of us are more than fair and open to all stories.
Yeah, bring it on, guys. And it's going on until you keep it going till whenever. I mean, let's talk. Let's keep this going as long as there's people who are interested in talking.
Exactly. Well, thanks, Puck. Yeah, typically I would say 90 minutes, but if people call, we'll keep it going. If people stop calling, we probably won't keep it going as long unless Puck and I can banter back and forth for an hour, which I don't know that would be all that entertaining since we haven't had time to plan out our banter.
It would be all sorts of entertaining because if you actually watch my show as much as I watch your show, you will see that every Friday I have a guest on with absolutely no script, no topics, no agenda, no anything. And we just riff on whatever happens to be able to be riffed on. I've done this 3 times so far. And we've been able to hold on to all 2 hours. Can we adjust your Mungander, please?
Sorry, can we address what? Oh.
Your Mungander. Okay. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if I didn't. I'm not sure how to pronounce the O with the 2 dots on top of it. Scandinavian characters are beyond my knowledge. I just wish one psychic or medium could explain without using fluffy language the mechanism behind their craft. Okay, so can I give you my supernatural power? Ethan, would that be all right? Can we talk about this really quick?
Please.
Okay. I have a supernatural power. I can watch a hockey game. Hold on. Listen to where I'm coming from. I can be watching a hockey game, and I'm like, I can tell when a goal is about to be scored. Okay. And people have been sitting next to me while I do that. I'm like, oh, this is going to lead to a goal. And I just know. Now, because I'm me, I'm the kind of person who's going to be like, okay, let's figure out how I know this. And I can tell that I know this only visually. Because if I was listening to a hockey podcast or broadcast, I couldn't do this. I have to be in person watching the game or watching it on TV. So I know it's something that's visually perceptive. I am seeing something that registers, but I could not tell you exactly what it is. Like I couldn't tell you, okay, the goalie is standing in this particular way. The defenseman is sliding off to the wall, Sagittarius. I could not tell you what I'm looking at. And the best thing that I could do, Jormungandr, unfortunately, is to give a fluffy sort of like, you know what? I can just tell by the way the players are moving. There's something about, like, I've studied the team strategies enough to know what they should be doing. So I know when they're not playing their strategy. But I could not specify to any degree, this is what I am looking for to tell when a goal is going to happen. But people have been with me watching as I do this. So they know that it's possible. They know that it happens. But I could not tell you how.
Okay. So I actually want you, put your feet to the fire a little bit.
Let's do it.
How do you know that that's your superpower? And
because I tried flying and it didn't work.
Well, I guess, all right, so you
See,
put
I'm
my
funny.
fire quite often, specifically when it comes to, I will say, like, I think I'm really good when it comes to spotting lies and reading people. And it's so hard for me to put it into words how I do it. I know I'm picking up on their body language, their tone, all that, but I'm not always entirely sure what they're saying. Oh, we just had a caller. Let me, they disconnected. Let me call them back.
Korog, I'm tempted to agree with you, by the way. For a lot of cases, I think it could be explained by that, except it's not necessarily God. It's going to be your supernatural.
Hello.
Oh, hey.
You are on the air, Alexandra. You're on the air with Puck and Ethan. How are you?
It's Allie, but thank you.
Allie.
How are you guys doing?
Allie, it's a pleasure to meet you. Are you the one who asked if I was a Cancer?
Yeah, because you know why?
No. Why would you guess Cancer? Hello?
Do I need to turn off the mute? I've never been on air.
Yeah, can you? Oh, you're listening to the delay. Yeah, don't listen to the screen. Talk into the phone.
Okay, listen to the phone. Got it. Okay, cool.
Can you hear me also?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Cool.
So you were asking if I was a Cancer. I'm actually a Sagittarius. And then you had said, do you know why I asked that? I have no idea. So why would you have thought that I was a Cancer?
Well, because since I'm a Cancer, okay, you know how you're talking about the hockey game thing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it, but I'll know something's going to happen just a few seconds before it actually happens.
Can you give me an example?
I feel say if I'm talking about something to somebody, say, I don't know, this is a shot in the dark. This is going to be canceled tomorrow. And then it would be I am an extreme empath. So since you guys are talking about what is it? The supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I walk by graveyards, I feel feelings and emotions. And it's not just the dead, it's the alive too. There's some personalities I cannot take because it's overwhelming because I feel how they feel. So if I'm in a place that I think might be haunted, because my mom watches a bunch of those shows, Ghost Hunters and stuff. So I just like feel like I can sense something watching me, but I never seen anything. Do you know what I'm saying, or no? You guys have those experiences?
I think I do, and I kind of know where I want to go with this, but like, how open are you to being questioned about this? Like, you're calling us, obviously you want to talk about it, but how far do you want to go as far as like testing this? Because here, let me give you an example. I was talking about being able to take the ice hockey goals, right? I'm not about to take this to Las Vegas and start gambling on it. It's just something cool that happens every so often. How confident are you about the accuracy of your perceptions?
60%.
60. Okay. What have you done to test it so far?
I don't test it. I just like, there'll be people around me, like my friends, and they'll be like, you were just talking about that. And I'm like, yeah. And then they'll come up and I'm like, what the heck? Like there's like 5 people I can be like, hasn't this happened to me a bunch of times? Like, not predicting the future, but like, I don't know how to explain it the right way.
I think I know.
You're doing great. I appreciate you calling.
So,
yeah, no problem.
Depending.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Depending on how you would define empath, I would consider myself one to an extent. I was just explaining to Puck earlier. I am fairly confident in my ability to pick up on danger, read body language. And usually, for instance, if I'm in a bar, I can always, with almost perfect accuracy, if I'm paying attention, spot a fight well before it's going to happen. There are many times where I would, at the beginning of the night, walk up to the bartender and be like, hey, this person in this shirt will be a problem. This person over there, they're going to be a problem if you keep serving them. And, without miss, it would happen constantly. But what I attribute that to is just being hyper aware or focused on picking up on people's body language, picking up on their emotions.
Yeah, that's what I think. I agree.
Okay, but now where I'm going with Ethan, and I can pick on him a little bit because I pick on him all the time anyway.
Yes, you can.
Like I'm going to push back on that and say, you know what, you're seeing something. You are visually perceiving something, but you are making an assessment without knowing exactly how your assessment is being made. This is how I define intuition, is that you are perceiving something mundane, but processing the information so quickly that it comes across as subconscious. But I'm also going to say that he's doing that based on vision, because I'm willing to bet that if you blindfolded him and you brought him into a bar, he would not be able to pick out who's going to start a fight.
I would actually 100% agree with you.
Okay, so you're perceiving something mundane, but you're processing it faster than you're aware you're processing it. Maybe the way someone is standing or reaching in their pockets or a facial expression that they have when they look at a certain person. I'm more curious about how this happens when you're not perceiving someone. So you say that you get this feeling, this sensation without other people around, right?
Sometimes.
Okay. How can we find out? Okay, so go ahead.
About my background, I'm in the customer service industry, like the hotel industry, so I can read body language pretty well.
Okay.
So maybe it is based off body language. I don't know.
No, and like you said, you get a feeling of being watched, right? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
That just made me really happy. She said, "You've got me thinking," and that is to me one of like the most important goals. Like, we don't want you to have to call in here, and we're not trying to say you're wrong. We just want you to be like, "Hey, I didn't think about that before." So that made me really happy, Allie. So Puck, I apologize. You can resume.
I'm happy too. You can tell because I'm smiling. Okay, so when you and I apologize for this, but usually I do try to keep a neutral facial expression, so that I don't come across as like disarmingly. Like, have you ever met someone who's like smarmy, not charming, but like he's trying to schmooze you? I don't ever want people to think that I'm schmoozing them. It's not a good not a good look for me. Okay, so I wish that there was a way to test this, and I'm asking for your help to come up with a way to do it. So how can we find out if someone is aware that they are being watched, but be able to do it in such a way that we can isolate what is causing that feeling? And not only that, but that feeling is accurate.
Get some of that electromagnetic shit that Ghost Adventures use. Excuse my language. I mean, sorry.
You're fine.
It's Ethan's channel, so swear all you want. I swear all the pucking time on here.
Stay away from racial slurs, please.
Sorry.
No. You weren't using it. You're good. Anyway, keep going with what you were saying.
I was saying, someone's calling me. Wait, hold on. I was just thinking, like if someone were to test if someone was watching you, that could mean a bunch of stuff. Like, like people can tap into your Alexa, you know what I mean? Or you could get stuff from like Ghost Adventures, the things that they use, like test to see like if there's a spirit around, you know what I mean?
Okay, so the way that I would do this is going to be incredibly mundane to start, okay? I would take whoever says that they can do this, and a good number of them. Let's just throw out the number 20 to start, right? And I would put them in a room, and this room is completely sealed off from everything. It's pretty easy to do that. But I would also, like, blindfold them, headphones so they can't hear anything, like block off as much sensory as possible, right? And then there is either a person who is watching them or there is not a person watching them. And I want to see at least a 75% success rate of them knowing when someone is watching them without the use of their mundane senses. Then I will start to believe that something's up.
I like that idea.
I do too. And I'd love to find a room full of people who are willing to try it. This is why what was her name in chat? I was hoping that if she did share this, and there are any of the 2,500 empaths and mediums who are out there who are willing to test this, let's do it. Let's win that Templeton Prize, right?
Right.
I appreciate that you're willing to test this out, but I also appreciate that you have some measure of confidence in your abilities. Like, I'm confident enough in my predicting hockey goals to tell friends when we're going to hockey games, like, hey, I don't mean to scare you, but sometime I might just look over and say, oh, okay, he's going to score. And then it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't mean to scare you. Right. It's going to happen. So I appreciate both the confidence you have in it and the skepticism you have in it. That's awesome.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm curious to. I would like to see this definitely tested further. So if you could, or maybe we could find a way to do this, Puck, because I would think it would be awesome to get people like Allie and myself together. And because quite honestly, like I agree with you that it could just be what we're seeing. I would love to test it to see if I am picking up on it.
Yeah, now to do this, we have to test the mundane senses also. We have to see, okay, if they can hear, can they tell if a person is, if they can see, can they tell if a person is watching them? We'll test it. Let's see it.
Yeah. Now, regarding the cemetery, I don't know if I have a good answer for that. Outside of, I think, like, I mean, when I pass a cemetery, I obviously like always do a double take, and I kind of I get filled with emotion too. But that could just because I'm passing a cemetery with a lot of, people who have passed away.
True.
So for both of you, then, every time this has happened, did you know you were in a cemetery?
I knew I was at the cemetery.
Okay, so then the way to test this,
tombstones.
the way to test this is, okay, again, blindfolded, headphones, no smelling, no anything. You are being walked by two friends who are guiding you through, say, 20 different places around town. And if you can predict which ones are graveyards and which ones are not, based only on non-mundane perception, again, then I'll start believing that something's up.
That's a good idea. Would you be willing to try that?
Yeah. Sorry.
Super cool.
Yes, I am.
I kind of wish that you lived in the Cincinnati area because I would love to be there in person for this.
Are you in the Midwest? I'm in Illinois. Sorry, you don't have to answer.
I'm in Illinois. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Fellow Illinoisan. I'm sorry.
The only thing I know about Illinois is that there were a bunch of carnivorous plants that ate a town called Peoria. That's as far as I've ever gotten. That's another one of those references.
I know where that's at.
Okay.
Well, Allie, I want to thank you for calling in and sharing your story. It was very nice of
No
you.
problem.
And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you stay happy and healthy.
Thank you. You guys too.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Let me answer Bestname Ever's question because I love this. They're putting me to the test right now. Most of the time in a hockey game, no scores are going to happen. It's not 100%. It's not perfect. It's just sometimes I can just look at a play and be like, a goal is going to happen. But goals happen so fast now. You know this. You're from where you are, which I don't know if you want to discuss publicly, but there's a lot of hockey where you are. So you know that there's more not scoring in hockey than there is scoring in hockey. So to say when a player is not going to score, that's just too easy because I can just always say, okay, you are not going to score in tonight's game. It's going to happen more often than not. What did Korog have to say?
The sensation of feeling like you're being watched is similar to getting goosebumps and your hair standing on end. This is something animals do when they feel threatened. Yeah.
Oh, have you ever watched slow motion videos of people getting startled?
No, I have not.
This is hysterical because they will follow the same kind of things that an animal does to appear larger and to appear more threatening. Because the first thing, they will rear up, right? And then their eyes get huge. They are trying to make themselves larger than whatever it is that's scaring them. You can see cats doing this. I'm sure you scare Band-Aid all the time, right?
Oh, no.
But that's what cats do. When a cat is threatened, it turns sideways and arches its back to appear larger than it actually is.
Unintentionally, yes. I have unintentionally scared my cat, but I would never. I'm sorry. People who prank animals are complete jerks. Like
I am a complete jerk. I prank 99 and Max all the time.
Okay, Puck, you and I have an issue because the animal cannot comprehend a prank. It's not like you could be like, I got you, and the cat's like, oh man, you got me this time, bro. I'll get you next time. Like they don't understand that. You're just
I suppose. Okay, how would you identify pranking an animal?
Someone who jumps up and scares them as quickly as possible, or grabs them and like throws them at like another animal, or tries like to instigate things, like something the animal can't actually process, which in turn is just you violating their trust.
Okay. So let's say, for the sake of argument, not that this ever actually happens. Okay, let's say that 99, one of my cats, likes to attack people's feet that are under blankets, right? So would it be pranking that animal if I actually like move my foot around and try to get him to attack it, or try to?
That's not a prank.
Okay, because I'll do that. I'll try to get my cats to attack stuff, and I think that's just them honing their natural predatory instincts. They like to play. Cats like to play. Dogs like to play. Have you ever done that thing where you take a ball and you pretend to throw it, but you actually just keep it behind your back?
No.
Oh, yeah. Dogs go crazy for that. They will just start bolting across the yard, and they're like, okay, what was that about?
But we do have our next caller.
Oh, let's do it.
All right. So, Erica, you are on with Ethan and Puck. How are you?
What's up, dudes? Can you hear me?
Erica, is this the Erica I think it is?
It is, man. Predator.
Erica, I have to apologize to you, and I'm going to publicly apologize to you so you know how sincere I am, okay? On Facebook, on my Facebook notifications, sometimes I'll scroll and it'll show me this thing where it says recommended friends, right? And it had someone on there who I knew, and I was like, I'm surprised that I'm not Facebook friends with this person yet. And so I pushed what I thought was that person's friend request button, and it turned out to accidentally be you. So I apologize if that freaked you out. So
you could be my friend, man. I'm cool with that.
I appreciate that. Let me tell you, first of all, Erica, before we get into whatever you wanted to call about, and I hope we get into something interesting. The more I see your responses to Ethan's comments, the more I like you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, the more I'm like, you know what, this person and I can be good
I'm calling it, so I'm a little like nervous and jerky here, but you know.
Dude, you got nothing to be nervous about.
You're nervous. I'm the one on camera. I'm the one. I saw the topic for this. It's like, I don't know anything about this. Why are you asking me to talk about this?
I'm just asking.
That's great, though. You know.
Yeah. So just give us something to talk about. We'll riff on this
on camera. You know.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I feel like eyes are important. For some reason, it's a really significant thing. So it's weird for me to be talking and not knowing what I'm.
Can you see the stream right now?
I'm weird like that.
No, best name ever. To clarify, there are some people who view an unsolicited friend request as an unwanted imposition.
Not many. So
not many, but just in case that Erica is one of those, then. But I hope we can be friends because you seem really cool.
That's awesome. Likewise.
Okay. Well, anyway, what did you want to talk to us about, Erica?
Well, I wanted to talk about my personal experience with the supernatural, if, calling it the supernatural, if that's what you want to call it. I think there's a lot more out there that we don't know than we do know and understand as humans. I'm trying to like sum this up as concisely and, easily as I can, because it's kind of been like a lifelong experience and journey towards understanding who I am because of it. When I was little, ever since I can remember, and I remember really far back, like probably 3 years old or so, I've had stuff happen constantly. I never saw or heard like a normal person, but I didn't know it was different until I was about 32 years old, and I was like, oh, like this isn't normal, people. So when I was little, I used to think that I saw atoms and molecules. That was like, as a tiny child, that was the only way I could describe it. My vision is billions of tiny colored lights, constant motion. And I see it when I close my eyes too. So I've never seen darkness. Like a dark room is blinding to me. And I hear frequencies, and it's not like tinnitus. I could pinpoint exactly like where they're coming from in my brain and stuff like that. And that was just like my normal, So aside from like your normal, like kind of ghosty experiences, which I have had plenty of, when I was in my 30s, I was getting really bad migraines, which also coincided with my starting to kind of research a little more and meditate and try to, just, I don't know, get more grounded. I knew I wasn't like a normal person, you know what I mean? Like, and normal in the sense that like, I didn't have the same perspective as most people I knew. I don't mean to say I'm like abnormal or whatever. I just didn't understand it. So I was getting these migraines. I was trying to meditate, things like that. Well, one day I was sitting there on the couch, just like the kids were in bed. I was watching TV, and I always kind of like watch the walls because it's actually like more interesting than watching the television, because I see like just colors and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear the sound and the feeling happened at the same time. So what I heard was this, so loud, this whoosh sound, right? Like this rush, giant whoosh. And I felt two hands on my brain, and it squeezed in and out, kind of like you would squeeze a Nerf ball, like I could actually feel my brain like moving in and out with these hands on it. And it passed, and I never had a migraine again. So I thought I had a stroke or something, I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Went to neurologist, had every test in the book done and nothing. And so I started researching, things about the brain, on my own. And I eventually had found this group online that called what I had experienced visual snow syndrome. And people have it to different, degrees. Most have what they call tinnitus with it. And I know that it's neither of those things. Like this is something completely different. And
sorry, did you say visual snow syndrome?
It's called, they call it visual snow syndrome. And there's actually just recently been started to be researched in the last several years, like I say like the last 5 years or so, and nothing, like no one knows anything, and all these people in this group, it made me so sad because everybody's thinking they're dying. They just want a cure, because it is, once I knew that it was a thing, if people didn't understand it coming from like the way that I kind of look at it as, it would be scary. You know what I mean? Like, this is not like normal. And so the past 10 years, basically I've been doing my own research on it. and I kind of set up my own little experiments about like how I could manipulate, the colored dots, and they form images, and I hear things if I concentrate on the frequencies. Now, my whole big thing is like, I'm not like my ego. Like I tried desperately to like rid myself as much as possible of ego. So I don't want to come off being like, oh, I have a gift and blah, blah, blah. A lot of people nowadays get this new agey stuff. Everybody's got something, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like they want to market themselves as that, where I just want to kind of understand better why I see and hear like this. Okay, but so I did go through. Oh, did you say something?
Well, you're giving us a lot, and I want to find the happy medium between giving you the space to give your experiences, but also bring something up before we forget to, because like we've already gone through like 3 different topics, and we're probably only going to have time for a few of them. Like the first thing, the first thing that I thought about was, you're aware that the human visual system is based partially on movement, right? Like, and you can tell this because like if you're looking at something and then it suddenly goes away, you're going to see a remnant of it there. You're going to see a little tiny dot of color where it used to be. And there are experiments and videos you can do about that. Okay. And you can also, and this happens to me all the time because I love to play video games. And if I'm playing a video game where there's lots of bright colors and lots of things moving around on screen, and I'm like, oh, I just need to sit back, and I close my eyes and lean back like this, I can still see dots moving around. Right. But I'm guessing that's not what you're describing.
Images or, reactions to the light that's stored in your rod.
So you've obviously researched that. And you've researched that, and you've decided that this that you're experiencing is not that, right?
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So the kind of experiments I did, showed me that there's more to this, but so I've been trying to like incessantly kind of fill in the gaps. I come from like a astronomy and physics background, so I'm super, scientifically inclined, which makes this that much more interesting to me because, I'm constantly teetering between scientific and my spiritual side, which I'm deeply connected with. You know what I mean? So it's been really interesting. I mean, there have been things like in my early childhood, that it's not like your average. I mean, people have like ghost stories or whatever, and it was always kind of normal to me. Like it was never like a scary thing. Like I had like a playmate of a little girl who we found out had died in front of our house. It was like an old house in New Jersey from like the 1800s, and she actually saved my father's life when I was 2. Because he suffered from the same thing that President Bush, like the older President Bush, suffered from. So like when you go to throw up, if you're sick, it actually, your throat closes and you suffocate and you can die. And I was home alone with him, and my mom was at work one night, and this little girl dialed 911, and I remember this like clear as day. Like it shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? I didn't even know what 911 was when I was that age. So like, it's been kind of like things like that my entire life. So I never really questioned that there wasn't that side of things, that I always questioned that this reality was a limited, human perspective, I guess you would say.
So if
all of this, energy and stuff that we don't understand how it interacts with us in our human form. Does that make any sense? I guess
here's the problem that I'm having with that, Erica. And I really want stuff like this to be true. I want there to be some sort of recorded evidence of stuff that's going on that we have no perception of. And it's going to start with people like you who have these experiences. You're seeing things. You're having these experiences. It starts with people like you who carefully document what's going on. Does that make sense? Because the more you can write down, and especially record what happened, like the circumstances around it, time of day, location, how much ever, that's when the true research is going to begin. Because now we can start trying to, here's me again, repeat the process. Like try to get predictable results from repetition. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And so
I have
I
full of notes.
and so I guess this is where
because it's very overwhelming. You know, I almost like don't know where to start. I'm bad at starting, you know, to piece it all together, but I'm good at figuring out all the different pieces that will go together eventually, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so let's figure this out. It's like if you are able to perceive something and it's genuinely there, and people like me are not able to, other than just you saying that it's there and asserting it's there, and me saying I don't detect anything, how do we get past this?
I don't know. I kind of want my brain to be dissected. No.
And the brain is such a.
Like, I feel like there are people who are, you know, especially who have. That's why I'm so interested in this visual snow syndrome and like the community that's beginning to talk about it and research it, because there's no physical difference that's been found in our brains that would cause us to see and hear these things. You know what I mean? Like. I don't know if there's something that like a, you know, an instrument that could possibly measure what we're talking about. So that's my frustration.
I have
it definitely is something. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, a couple follow-up questions. So for one, it's coming from Jocelyn. Is there any stimulus? Like, is there anything in common that happens when you start seeing this? Like, for example, I don't want to assume you like marijuana like I do. Do you like marijuana?
I love marijuana, and
okay.
Actually, aside, like a kind of a part of the syndrome is a lot of people, these people have anxiety and depression, and that's a byproduct of what's going on in our brain and in our ears. You know what I mean? It's not that you're just naturally depressed. And what I have found is that my brain, since I can remember, I've had it my whole life, has constantly been processing color, light, and sound with no off switch. Even in a dark, silent room, even with my eyes closed, I hear and I see.
So it doesn't.
You know what I mean?
Just for clarification, it doesn't matter if you're on any type of drug or completely sober. These things still happen. Is that correct?
Oh, it's constant my whole life. Like it's never shut off. You know.
What about when you are, like, have you ever blindfolded yourself and been in a dark room? What happens then? Have you?
Bright as day. It's blinding. I see, you know, bright colors and movement, and I've never seen darkness. I've never seen darkness.
Okay. So where I'm coming from with this, and again, rule number one for me is validate the experience. If you believe you're seeing something, if you say you're seeing something, then I believe you. Okay. Then the next question there is, if I can't see it, is that because there isn't something to see, or that you're able to perceive something that I'm not? Right. Like it's possible that, you know, like everybody's perception range is different, right? I'm always blown away by these, like they'll show a bunch of colored bars. Like, have you seen these Facebook posts? There's like different colored bars and said, how many different colored bars can you see? And there are some people who swear up and down that there's only 20 colors on there. Yeah, they're like, oh, I can only see 20. But then there are some people who say, oh yeah, there's easily at least 35 different colors on there. So different people's perceptions are going to be different. And I believe that you are seeing something. What I don't know is that there's something there for me to see also. So how can we start to figure this out? How can we start to figure out if there's something to see that I'm just not seeing, or if your perception, like something is going on in you that's perceiving something that's only within you? Have you ever heard? That's a good question. Have you ever heard of synesthesia?
I don't know if it's measurable or quantifiable in that way, you know? I mean, I guess that's why, you know, discussion and people coming together and sharing ideas is probably the most important, you know.
And I would welcome you to do so. Unlike some people who are going to say, yeah, you're obviously not seeing anything. I'm going to validate you, and I'm going to say that you are seeing something. What I would like to know is, you know, where this is. Like, so I would love to know more about this, and I would love you to, you know what? We're friends now. We're going to be Facebook friends. So let's talk about this some more. Let's talk about this some more, because this sounds really fascinating. And it might just be, you know, our different brains are perceiving vision and stimuli in different ways, and it registers in our brains differently. Because I can tell you that I can close my eyes and I can be in a dark room and not see anything. So, you know, that's my experience, and it's just as valid as you saying that this is your experience. I believe you. I just want to know more about it.
So a couple.
Yeah, absolutely.
A couple questions from the audience. Did you get a second opinion, and what types of doctors did you go to? Of course, only if you're comfortable answering that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen everything from neurologists to neuro-ophthalmologists, you know, psychiatrists, you know, just to kind of get their take on things. And it wasn't because I was scared for like medical reasons. It was more that I want answers because this is really fascinating to me. And part of the reason I'm doing this research is because I think it could be applied to people who are suffering from, you know, what is deemed as mental illness, addiction, all the places in the brain that are affected by this stimuli are the same places that contribute to mental illness, addiction, you know, things like that. So my reason for doing it is not only because I'm fascinated by it and I believe that there's something there, but because I think it will have huge impact on how we view, you know, that kind of thing in society.
Yeah. And the more you document this, the more you try to document this and the more vocal you are about it, the more it's going to start to sound like it's not just a one of. And this is the big thing that I complained about with the last caller, right? It's a one of experience. We can't replicate it. We can't duplicate it. We have nothing to go off of. If this is something that's currently happening, that gets you one step closer. And if you can document this and talk to somebody about this, especially people who validate your experience also, that's how we start to find out about some rare conditions, right, that actually exist. is we start talking to people and validating their experiences instead of just saying, we can't find any reason why you would be feeling pain right now, so we're just going to assume it's a phantom pain coming out of nowhere. No, maybe there is something to this, but the first step of that is let's document it. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I appreciate it.
And then two last real quick questions. Have you ever tried a spirit box session?
Don't know what that is, so I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, I don't know what that is either.
Like, oh yeah, like on Ghost Hunters. Yes, I have done stuff like that. Just because I think it's fun, you know, and not in any kind of like super serious, you know, way. Okay. But yes, I have experienced that, and I have heard things from that. But I think that part of that has to do with how the frequencies I hear, because it actually can manipulate sound coming out of electronics, you know, which sounds crazy, right?
No, there is sound coming from electronics. I can validate that.
And then last question. Have you researched the light spectrum and how much the average person can actually detect without instrument?
You know, I have not researched the light spectrum, but I have researched human, how do you want to say it? Like how we hear. And the frequencies that I hear are way beyond what humans are supposed to be able to hear. And I've matched them up like on frequency, you know, things we listen to a frequency and it'll tell you how many hertz or megahertz or whatever. And it's way up there, you know. I think they say up to like 20,000 hertz, or is that right? That the human ear is supposed to be capable of hearing. Mine go upwards of 30 to 40,000. So I don't know. They're all little pieces to the puzzle, you know, and it's kind of, I feel like I'm a little like Nancy Drew here, you know, and I have like this childlike wonder. So this is, you know, this is kind of my existence. Like I think about this stuff all the time and I try to write and meditate and piece it together. And I don't know, I'm hoping something comes of it.
I appreciate you sharing this with us. And
on which I could get people.
You know, Bestname Ever said something really interesting. She said that this sounds exhausting. And like for me, someone who is able to close my eyes and see darkness, I can't even imagine what it would be like not to be able to do that. So you have the sympathies of the people in the room.
Exhausting.
Okay. There was a question from Cynthia also. If we can just do this. Is this something other family members experience, or is this unique to you?
I don't think so, but I'm inclined. My son Jonah, who's 8, he's mentioned things about stuff he's seen, you know, when we're like laying in bed at night or whatever. And I'm inclined to think that he has it too. There are people who have several family members that all have this, you know, quote unquote visual snow syndrome, which I've read about, you know, in different groups on Facebook and on the web. So that's interesting too. And there's also people who've had it their whole lives. And then there's people who had it like sudden onset at different periods, you know, at different points in their life.
Right.
And so it's just interesting to me. I don't know.
Well,
I think there's something there, man.
I hope that you continue to document this, because it's repeated, because it's something that happens a lot, and because it's something that seems like we can quantify. I think we're onto something, but I want to know more. And now that we're friends, we can talk to each other more about this. And I'm glad for the opportunity.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
guys. Sorry for being so chatty.
No, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
That was a good call. Thank you very much. That was really nice. Go ahead, please, Ethan.
I'd like the important takeaway. I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off. We apparently both start talking at the same time. I want the important takeaway to be from this is I'm trying to do something very differently here. I'm not looking to just shut people down and tell them they're wrong. This needs to be an open dialogue back and forth. And that first call from Allie really made my day when she just said, I don't know, you've got me thinking now, because that's literally what I want to do, is just get people thinking a little bit about this. So yeah, Puck, please go ahead.
I think this last one was good with Erica, because it's something that we can go back to and keep trying. And I do believe that she is perceiving something. Like there's something going on that connects whatever parts of your brain are responsible for perception, saying, yeah, I'm seeing color right now. I wish that more people would speak up about the things that they're feeling on the inside, like pain or perceptions, instead of assuming that everybody has them or doesn't have them. So if we can normalize this kind of conversation, we'd probably get a lot more research done. This is how we find out about stuff. So this is good. I'm honored that she would share that with us.
I agree. And that's literally what I want, is just people to call in, share their stories. I've got to get a new mic. I don't know what's going on recently. Is that better? Could you hear me okay this whole time?
The closer you are to your microphone, the more clear you sound.
Okay.
It definitely dude, just basically swallow the microphone. Just get in there. Look at this.
Is that better?
Right there, right down there, just like that. That's how we should be, right there.
Okay. We're gonna take our.
Yeah, you're only gonna. This is the top of our head stream. You're gonna see the button on top of Ethan's head. You're gonna see my bald spot.
Oh, that would be so funny to do the whole time.
I've done that. Like one time I left my stream on after I thought I was done playing a video game, and I actually streamed my empty chair for 8 hours.
Really?
And the weird part about that is I actually had people who donated bits to an empty chair stream. That is the power of Twitch right there.
I need to get a stream going just for my my cat. Just Band-Aid, where people could tune in at any time and just watch this adorable baby right here.
Oh, don't bring out the cat.
Look at that little guy. He's so cute, though.
Can we please have someone call about literally anything else? Do we have to turn this to a cat stream?
No,
anybody, please just call about Ethan's mic is haunted. We now have evidence of ghosts. No, we have evidence of someone who used to work as a DJ, but has absolutely no microphone presence.
You know, what a burn.
Oh, bro. Let me get you some ice for that sick burn.
Come at me. We'll see who's better on the mic, sir.
We just did.
No, you got it.
Oh, who else is here? Let's see. Even if you can't call, give us a question in chat if you want us to address something. Korag, I wanted to address Korag right here, because you're asking a lot of things that I would probably like. They're not wrong, but I want to try to give it a kinder approach. Does that make sense? You're not wrong, but I want to really try to figure out what other people are perceiving. And unlike most, I'm willing to meet them more than halfway. I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to trust that you're actually experiencing what you're experiencing. Let's figure out what we can do to learn more about it. All streams belong to Band-Aid. That's a video game reference, by the way, Ethan. Do you get it?
I actually get that. All your base are belong to us.
What was the name of the game?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Anyway, Ashley, please call. Let's hear this.
Yeah, Ashley is a ghost hunter. So,
hi, Ashley.
If you have time, call in. If not, you can call in next week. We're going to be doing this each and every Tuesday.
Not necessarily with my ugly mug on here, which is probably good.
But, no, but you're really good at this, man. I stand by my statement that you and I make a great duo together. We both of us just want to gain an understanding of the other person's position and just ask them questions and get them to challenge themselves. I mean, for those that don't know, Puck challenges me. This is so weird. Like, I hate talking this close to the mic, but whatever.
But it actually sounds great.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, Puck challenges me each and every day, like almost every morning. I wake up with messages like, "Did you think about this?" Or
that's perfectly fine, Ashley. Call when you can.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Give us a call. I don't remember where I was going with this, but hey, also, if you like what we do here, there is a Patreon link in the description. You could sign up for as little as $1 a month. And there's also buy us a cup of coffee. Yeah. So if you
just want to continue this conversation with me and leave this yachts out of it, you can go to my Twitch channel. I'm on from 2 to 4 every weekday Eastern time.
Thanks, Puck. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
And then also I want to thank my patrons. I should actually have that up right now. Staring at this. Okay.
Yeah,
Cindy,
let's
Trina, Deluca, Kenneth, Leonard, Christian, Watkins, Kathy, Letto, Ian Davenport. Thank you to everyone who is continuing to support me in this time. It is awesome. So thank you.
And also along these lines, can I just say that even like a $1, even a $1 super chat, like this makes our life. Right, we're incredibly happy about it. We text each other on media. We're like, dude, I got another this $1. That's all it takes to make us like incredibly happy. But no, you don't. Yeah, Ethan, the curl stream is starting to look really weird. Just sit up and make sure you project from the diaphragm. Yeah.
Wait, what?
You can stand normal. They're getting sick of looking at your curl.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much, Cynthia, for posting those links.
Yes.
And best name ever. I know you have like links to all sorts of crazy Twitch streams. So if you could post a link to my I'm sure Ethan wouldn't mind if we posted a link to my Twitch stream.
Oh, of course, dude. Your Twitch stream is in the description. So yeah, people could post it. And if you like Puck, you can see his Twitter and his Twitch is in the description of this video.
Could it be that superstitions is an evolutionary remnant? Hi, Dean. I mean, the folk on the savannah that didn't trust the rustling grass are the ones who survived the lions. Okay, there are. I've heard about this analogy before. I kind of buy it. Like, I don't know much about evolutionary psychology, but let's go with this for a second. That if it works and you lived, that's more important than being accurate, right? So if I do something and it seems to work, Ethan, this one's for you. If I do something and it seems to work, especially if it's doing something so positive that I wouldn't want to deal with the negative consequences, I am less inclined to want to try to test it for accuracy. If I do this and it takes care of, it seems to have gotten rid of this medical condition, I'm not about to stop just to see if that's really what did it.
Oh, yeah, I get it. That was directed at me.
Okay. You see where I'm going with this?
All right.
I'm firing shots at you right now, Ethan.
All right. So here, let's address this right now.
Let's address this right now.
Okay. So Puck has an issue with my enthusiastic support of medical marijuana. Now, I'll explain where I stand on it, and then I'll explain the questions he's risen, which I think are entirely valid. I was on a lot of medication. I was having seizures daily. It was just hell. And needless to say, I started medical marijuana, and I was able to get off all of these medications. I got off my seizure meds, stomach meds, antidepressants, ADHD meds, literally everything. So I attribute everything that happened, my health, to marijuana. However, Puck challenged me, and he's like, how did you, you didn't rule anything else out. Have you stopped the marijuana again to see if the seizures come back? I'm like, no, I haven't. But he's like, so right now, your argument is essentially no better than prayer. I did this. It made me feel good. So I'm going to advocate for it. Now, I have a hard time comparing it to prayer because to me, it literally did get me off all of this medication. But at the same time, I guess without evidence, without testing, it's hard for me to continue to be as much of an advocate because I don't want to be dishonest in any way. So that's where Puck challenges me.
And again, I am not necessarily saying that marijuana did not help with your condition. I'm just saying, how do you know? So I appreciate that. Your honesty and your dedication to skepticism, but also your health is in concern. Okay. And if you're not willing to do this experiment on, then it's your health. You decide.
As much as I want to, it's just the terrifying thought of going back to how it was before, because I assure you, if that happens, you're not going to see me on YouTube, man. This will all be done. So
no, but then the only thing that I would say to you is let's apply proper skepticism here. It seems to be working, but let's not declare that it does.
Right.
Does that make sense? And then when you say you're advocating for it, this is where I wanted to stop you. And this is where I would have stopped any of our other callers when I say, what's your confidence level on this? All right. Because if you start having such a high confidence in the healing powers of anything to the point where you're a vocal advocate for it, then we need to start having a different conversation. Does that make sense? Yeah, to say that it helped you, that's one thing. To tell other people that they need to look into it because it'll help them too, that's where I believe it's starting to cross the line. And you're not there. I'm not saying you are there, but that's where it would cross the line for me. Anyway, have we gotten Ashley yet?
Yeah, we got Ashley. I was just waiting for you. I didn't want to interrupt you. So
Ashley's far more interesting.
On the air with Puck and Ethan. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Hi, Ashley.
How are you guys?
I am doing well. Ethan sounds like he has some familiarity with you. I've never met you before, so I'm going into this completely cold. What would you like to talk to me to us about?
Okay, I really don't even know where to start because I've had quite some experiences. And I go into a lot of cemeteries and I go into a lot of haunted places. I've been out of state to this house in Iowa, and this family got murdered by an axe, and we went in there. It's super eerie, and it's you could just picture everything that happened in there. But there was this one time, I'm gonna tell you, okay? And I don't know, some people don't see the stuff, but I went into a cemetery one time, right? And it's in Manuka, and it's Ox Sable Cemetery. And we were doing some investigating, some ghost hunting, see if we could talk to any spirits. And we came across this guy. He kept coming through and kept talking, and he was getting really pissed off that we were there. He didn't want us there anymore. And we kept trying to tell the person that we were with that we had to leave because, that's disrespectful. If they don't want you there, then it's time to leave. So, the dude wouldn't listen. Well, the way that the spirit had did us, it was, pretty bogus. I'm not lying. Because, we thought it was a cop, for real, okay? There's this long path you gotta walk down to get into the cemetery. And it's kind of like the Bachelor's Road Cemetery. It's like a really long path you got to walk down. And we had our car parked up front, and then we just walked down there. Well, you've seen, like, and there's no possible way. This is what I'm trying to, like, oh my God, there's no possible way. So, like, you see, like, as if a cop car is coming, because you see that spotlight out and everything. And they're, like, coming towards us, and we're coming, like, we're going outside because it's time to go. And, like, the cops, like, coming towards us, and you can see it, like, back up and go into where they were going to, like, stay, and then obviously, like, come out if it was actually a real cop, and then tell us we got to leave and stuff. No. We were, like, literally seconds away from that, and when we got to the vehicle and we looked over, there was absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. And, like, everybody's seen it. It wasn't just me. Everybody that was with us seen that. Can you help me explain that?
Yeah. You know how many people can swear up and down that I am able to stand on top of a 4-foot shelf and do a backflip off of it and land on my feet?
I don't think that's the same thing, Park.
Yeah, we're getting there. My way of explaining things is kind of like going all the way around the world first, and then I get back to the point. How many people were there with you on this one?
Okay, it was me, my mom, my uncle, I think my 2 cousins.
Okay, and were you able to, like, share your experiences with each other? Were you talking about what you were experiencing as you were experiencing it?
Yes, we all experienced it. Yes.
Okay, but you were, like, able to talk to each other and say, "Did you see this? Did you see this? Did this happen to you also?"
Yeah.
Okay. Just a quick poll, really quick, from the audience, really quick. What's different about my appearance? Don't say anything yet. Just see if you can have it in mind, because I'm running an experiment with you, Ashley, and with the people in chat. Because I have this feeling that if you are able to share your experiences with other people, if you are able to, like, talk about it, then you're going to be able to squeeze something in there that other people might agree with just because you're so confident about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was thinking you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking you would say something like that.
Okay. No, I'm not. Okay. Once again, I'm not invalidating your experience. If this is what happened, this is what happened. I'm trying to tell you what goes on in my mind and how I would evaluate this.
Completely
Okay.
fine.
Okay. And the reason I'm having the audience tell you what's different about my appearance is just about everybody in there has seen me on camera before. I don't know that you ever have, right? And if they were able to talk to each other, they could probably figure out what's different about my appearance now that they could probably figure it out if they talked together. But if they're not able to talk together, they might not be able to. And I'll tell you that it took Ethan a few minutes to figure out what's so different. Right, Ethan?
That's true.
Okay.
And the audience is silent, so I don't know if they figured it out yet.
Yeah. Okay. So when the clock strikes 8:20 on everybody's clock, just everybody type it in at once, and I'll just use honor system to that you guys aren't conspiring with each other. And this is where I'm going with this with you. It's that if you were able to share it, you can say, okay, you saw this, right? Because of how confidently you said it or someone else said it, they might be much more likely to agree, even if they didn't perceive it themselves. So how can we
necessarily said like that, though?
Okay. So was it you this isn't a one-off for you, though, is it?
Like,
I mean, this is.
Did you see this? Did you see this? Like, no, we were like, yo, what did you see? And then, like, because we didn't, like, blurt out, oh my gosh, this is what we saw, you know? Like, no, we were asking everybody, like, what they saw. And they're like, yeah, we went over it after that. Like, they told us what they saw. Then we sat here and told them what we saw. And then that's why I'm saying, like, how can you explain that, though? And then, like, how can you explain, I got led to this kid's grave, okay? He led us there, literally. And then we solved his murder by just his grandma, because we met with his grandma, and because she ended up being there one day when we went back to his grave to do some more EVPs. And she identified his voice and told us that was his voice. And everything that she heard on them recordings, she told us that was literally like what he loved to do. Things like everything that she heard, it was like crazy. This is why I'm saying like.
So real quick, I want to make sure I heard you correctly. Did you say you solved the murder?
Yeah, it was a murder that happened. Yes.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Okay, so this kid, he actually, I believe he was hanging out with the wrong crowd. Okay, and you know, when you get in with the wrong crowd, you end up doing things with those people, right? Because sometimes you don't have a mind of your own. Well, I'm sorry, Lucas. That's his name. Anyways, like, he ended up being with this crowd, and this girlfriend that he was with, he was actually going to marry her. They were like, that was his fiance. They had a kid together and everything. Well, she brought over this dude to her house, and in the EVP, it states that this guy had basically shot up in him. So the dude was clean for so long. Like Luke was clean for, I can't remember what the grandma said. I think maybe a year, I think she said. And like then the dude shot up like in Lucas, which maybe Lucas didn't even know at that time that it was a lie. Like maybe he just thought, oh, okay, I'll go do something with, you know, my friends and my girlfriend, fiance. Well, instead, they shot him up. And then when he got home to his grandmother's, because they gave him so much, he died right there at his grandma's. And his grandma found him. And then she told us about how he was clean and everything. She just didn't understand how it happened. And we went through them EVPs over and over and over and over. And we had been to that kid's grave. This dude literally follows us because we helped him.
So real quick, when you say shot up, are you saying this person overdosed?
Yes. They probably put fentanyl probably in the heroin, I'm assuming.
So how did you specifically solve it? Like, I'm assuming, the police found him.
Well, okay. When I first got there, sometimes I don't even know how to explain this. Like, because some people, I don't know, maybe some people just don't get what I get in my head sometimes. But when I got to his grave, and I mean, there's tons of headstones everywhere. And I ended up going by him, okay? And I looked at him right away, and I just was like, man, this dude died of an overdose. And my uncle's like, well, you know, that's the first thing you thought in your mind that might be possible. He said, but maybe he could have died in a car accident. He could have also died, you know, doing this. Well, that's when we sat here and we furthered it. And he basically told us everything. And then, like I said, his grandma, she confirmed it all. She didn't know that basically they did that to him until she heard the EVPs. But she just knew that he was clean.
Were the police able to verify this?
Okay, we cannot contact the police. They would probably think that we're fucking psycho and that we're nuts. Excuse my language, but I'm just saying. Just imagine going to the police and telling the police that, oh yeah, we solved a murder from a kid that's been gone for 3 years now. And they'd be like, you're crazy. Whoa. And then on top of that, if we even told them it was Lucas, they'd be like, whoa, like this dude tried suing us. Like they would probably be like,
you don't think that, you know? Like, for example, let's say you went to the police. You don't think they'd at least look into it and possibly be able to verify this? Because if anything, if they did verify it, you know, that I would say at that point, you might be onto something. Wouldn't you think it is important to at least have them look into it rather than, for instance, already accepting that that's what happened without knowing for certain?
We have thought about it for sure. We have thought about it like a ton of times. But it's like, the fact is, like I said, a lot of people think people like me and my uncle are nuts. Okay? Like I told you earlier when I was telling you about, like, we are the highest ghost hunters there are. Well, people just think it's because we're high. And it's not. We have everything, like, we have all the evidence. We have all recordings on any videos, like, record, like, anything. Honestly, we have everything. And we even have, like, the infrared, like, cameras and all that shit that shows, like, you know, the spirits that come up. I have a lady that's in my attic right now, and she is a shapeshifter. She, like, transforms herself into things where I'm at. My uncle has experienced a clown. I've experienced a little girl. There's nobody here, none of my nieces. I've heard a little girl at like 1 a.m. in the morning yelling "Mom," and it's like right directly in my ear. And it's like, what?
Okay, so here's where I'm going to go with this, Ashley. And the stories are
all over the place.
Okay, so no. You're telling about a lot of experiences you had, and that's cool. So you're taking care of part one of what I like to see, which is repeatability, right? You're talking about things like evidence and whatnot. So you're talking about things number two, which is things that outside people can objectively verify. So now we're gonna go to number three. It's so awesome that we were somehow able to have calls that did this in progression. We did not plan this. It's just really awesome that it went this way. So Ashley, what can we do to make the next time this happens, and I'm sure it'll happen again, as sought after as you are, what can we do to find some way to verify what you are examining and what you are predicting, and see what actually happened? Like, how can we find some way to verify its accuracy and its predictability?
Would you want me to try to?
There's a number of things that I would love to do. Like I watch the paranormal experience, ghost hunter type shows on occasion myself. Usually when I'm sick of watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But
dude, I love Buffy.
Suddenly I feel like not loving Buffy. Okay. But anyway, where I'm going with this is wherever you see this, there's always a gap, right? There's always like this something missing that's truly making a valid scientific experimentation with evidence. Like false positives are my personal favorite, where something goes off and it's like, well, that might have been something. I don't know if that was something, but there's always something that's a little, it's just short of being able to be, valid scientific research. And if you're willing, goodness, if I wouldn't love to be part of your next few examinations, because I would like to add some scientific legitimacy to that. If you say something happened, it's like, okay, let's start isolating variables. Let's start figuring out exactly what caused this. If you're onto something, you're onto something. And the sharper we can make those, and the more we can make those shareable, then, we can all get in on this. Unless it's like a proprietary secret, secret blend of herbs and spices. We're not allowed to learn your recipe. I get it. Especially if it's harmful. But this is where I would want to go. It's like, there's no way we can examine the past evidences, or the past experiences. Those are done. We can't go back to it. You can't prove it any more than I can invalidate it. So the best thing that I can do with someone like you is say, going forward, what can we do? What can we do to sharpen these so that the next time a yutz like Ethan over here comes along and says, well, how do you know? You have a better answer. What can we do to really sharpen this?
Okay. I know I stated in the comments earlier. You guys have anybody that you've lost that's like really close to you?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like you to be able to answer that for me.
Oh,
wait,
sorry.
what? Sorry.
I would like you to be able to answer that for me.
Okay, well,
Have I lost anyone close to me?
Okay, listen, I'm not a medium. I'm not a like medium either. Okay. There's two types of mediums.
Okay. Do we have any of those here?
I'm not one.
Okay. Like, there's an objective answer to this. And I know the answer. I don't think I've talked to anybody else about anything that's going on with my like Ethan doesn't even know how many siblings I have.
You're not?
Yeah. So this would be actually a wonderful way to tell, especially since I'm what do you want to call those uncooperative, right? Knowing that I don't give much away with my expression or my my answers, I'm curious as to see who can tell if I've recently had a significant loss. But let's say
I think I know the answer to that question.
Okay.
But I'm not going to answer it. I'll tell you privately. So here, let's address it. I have lost someone close to me.
Let's go with Ethan's
really
answer.
Close to me. What can we do with that?
Okay. So this is for you to like believe it and understand it, or like what's your objective with this?
Sorry. What do you mean? What's my
okay? Listen, is like what's your objective of it? Like would you? Okay, because what I was trying to get at about that. Okay, what I'm saying is like, is your objective like to try to believe it because you're skeptical? Is that like what your objective is?
I see what you're asking. My objective is to believe as many true things as possible. So if indeed, there is an afterlife or there are ghosts, I want to believe it, because if it's true, then I'm sitting here believing a lie. So yes, I just want to go in the direction of whatever is true.
Okay, so a good way is going. Okay, is this person do they have ashes or do they have an actual like headstone, like where they're at, or are they not gone at all?
Well, they're gone. They're no longer with us.
Okay,
gone as in no longer alive.
Okay, well, actually, it doesn't matter if you're at the headstone or if they have ashes, because you can still go to their ashes too. But okay, so you would ask that person only questions that this person knows, okay, like that nobody else can answer. So if there's any other spirits trying to come through and like answer questions for that person that you're trying to talk to, okay, like you'll know. You'll hear the voice for one, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, okay, like you know their voice no matter what. It doesn't matter like if you hear like all these other voices coming through, or even there's this one spirit box that we just got.
Real quick.
Sometimes you hear.
Real quick, yes? I just to try and stay on point. So I have had a significant loss. So what are you suggesting I do?
To like I said, to believe in this and to know that this is real.
Well, yeah,
is this what you're trying to get at? This is why I was asking you, what is your objective?
So,
or are you trying? Okay, or are you trying to like? Okay, is your objective to believe that you can talk to this person? Or is it that you need closure? Or like what is your objective on it?
I guess my only objective would be to determine if I can communicate with the dead or not, or if what you're saying has merit. Because again, if it does, if there's a way to communicate with my brother, of course I want to know it. But I need to know how I can do that so I can test this.
You can definitely do it, okay? And I can help you do this.
Okay, let me put a pin on this right now, really quick. If we are to do this, I would like to find a way to better control the circumstances around what's going on. This is the wrong medium to do it in. But I would want to follow up on this. So is there a time when the three of us, or even just the two of you, can sit down and really isolate the variables and work something out on this one? I'd like to see it happen. I just don't think the Tonight Show is the time and place to do it. What do you think, Ethan?
We are running out of time. I will message you after this.
I want to talk about this, Ashley. I want to keep figuring this out.
Yeah, I will message you after this.
Right.
We'll figure out how I can test and test what you're suggesting, and then I can update the audience next week and let them know how the test went. Does that sound fair?
Okay.
And I want to either somehow be in on this conversation, or at least fill me in on what happened as a result of the conversation. I am very curious about this. I'm not beyond thinking that something's actually happening. I just want to know a little bit more about it. Let's start isolating some variables and figuring out what's actually going on. I appreciate you sharing your experiences with us.
Thank you.
All right. I will. Thanks for calling in. I will message you in a little bit.
Okay, no problem.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
S. Musiole, you tell me. S. Musiole, you tell me.
I don't know. So, anyways, let us know what you thought. I'm glad we got some good calls. Hopefully, these continue to progress. Understand, I did say it earlier. I do want to keep things on track. I don't necessarily want them to get too far into the weeds, which can occasionally happen, but I am going to give people far more leniency than they do on other shows. This, if you're tuning in specifically to see people shut down, or immediately tell them they're incorrect, this would not be the show. I am trying something very different here. I hope everyone enjoys it, and I hope they continue to tune in, but I don't want to just mirror another channel. Because to me, I would much rather spend time building, locating the communication gap between us versus just shutting them down. Because I would actually like to reach, a lot of these people that call in and watch, and I want them to feel heard. I want them to feel validated. So, yeah, Puck, what are your closing thoughts?
I don't think, normally during a What the Puck episode, which would normally be happening at this time, right? So we're going to turn this into What the Puck, where I usually talk about, this is what my position was in the beginning, and this is where I am now. And unfortunately, I have not seen anything that significantly moved my needle from not believing any of these supernatural claims. Okay, but we have had a couple of interesting leads, and we've had a couple of people who are willing to actually investigate these with me. So I appreciate that other people are being skeptical of also and saying, okay, let's find this out. Let's actually experiment with this. I hope that we do get to follow up with Ashley. I hope that I do get to talk to Erica a little bit more. Let's figure this out. So while I haven't changed my mind right now, that's fine, because my mind was never really set on nothing like this ever happens anyway. To answer Dean's question, let's have a definition of miracle first. To answer S. Musiole's question, you tell me. I have this feeling that if I give you any confirmation or denial about anything, that you're going to use that information rather than the information that you are sensing right now. So I want to give you absolutely nothing. And by giving you nothing, I want to see what you can get. Because if I can, you say something you're asking something that's so incredibly open-ended right now, that if I did have a sister who went through something, then it just comes down to a picky definition of what one considers to be a significant loss. Okay, significant loss is huge. That's way too broad. Okay, and I would want something a little bit more concrete than that, but I want you to get it from some way other than asking me for which direction you should go in. Let's test that. Let's see where that goes. So getting absolutely nothing from me, please tell me what the significant loss is around my sister, if there is one.
Well, I'm going to find out after this show, but Anyways, I do want to thank everyone for tuning in. Puck, thank you for co-hosting this with me. Next week we have wow, I can't talk. Brain Bug will be my co-host next Tuesday. I'm really excited about that. To quote Chris Mallard, it's going to be a lot of fun. If you're watching this, please like and subscribe if you like what we're doing. There's a Patreon link in the description, and you can sign up for as low as $1 a month. I do really appreciate everyone tuning in. Definitely check out Puck's channel. Puck, when are your shows, and where can everyone check you out at?
I stream on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/whatthepuck and the number 0, because the number 0 looks like a hockey puck. That's how you can easily remember that. I am on from 2 o'clock to 4. What?
I just got that.
Okay. I stream on my channel from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock every weekday. On every Friday, I have a special guest on Discord voice chat with me. This Friday, I will have none other than Christian J. Watkins, who's the hottest ticket in the atheist circuit right now. He's going to be on my channel on voice chat on Fridays.
He's getting thrown around everywhere. And congratulations, Christian did just get 100 subscribers today. So awesome. I'm really happy for him.
That actually qualifies you for a custom URL on YouTube.
Yep, and he already got it, which is awesome.
Yeah, which is, by the way, something you can get on Twitch on day 1. So just saying. I
know you love Twitter.
Yeah, there's a lot of, again, I appreciate that you're asking, S. Musiole. I will give you nothing. You have to tell me. And there are ways of contacting me. You can contact Ethan. You can contact me directly through my Twitch channel. You can direct message me on there. I would like to hear what you've got, but with no input from me. Let's reduce one variable. I am neither going to confirm nor deny. You're going to get nothing. Okay. Anyway, the mystery thing, I actually switched to contact lenses, so I don't have to worry about what angle my glasses are to reflect light onto the camera. So whoever guessed no glasses, you were absolutely correct. And I think maybe two people got it right and 2 people got it wrong. So
awesome. Well, everyone, I want to again thank you for tuning in. It's always appreciated. Stay happy, stay healthy, and welcome to the neighborhood. No, I'm trying to figure out a closer. I can't find one, man.
Use Jimmy Snow's closer. I have no clever closing line. Beep.
Well, then I would be copying Jimmy Snow.
Oh.
All right. I could do this with you all day, Puck. So everyone, have a good night. Be safe.